The human experience is as diverse as the keys on a piano. We're all not just a one-note dial tone. We're symphonies of key changes, varying in timbres and melodies. Popular spiritual literature will have us believe that we have to be happy all of the time. And although I agree that the feeling of joy should remain a constant focus, there is a process, an order of being able to master our own emotional concertos. That means not only mastering joy, but also mastering fear, grief, and everything in between. This is where we enter the hero's journey. Now I'm straying back away from the book and referring once again to The Secret. Now in The Secret, they say there is a 3-step process to bringing your thoughts into being. And those 3 steps are ask, believe, and receive. Now in our hero's journey, we will go through all 3 of those steps. In Act 1, which is the origins, the shadow, and the helping hands, this is where we master the asking process. If you're still here with us, we're going to go into Act 2, and that will address the belief process. This is where you go through the desert, the plot twist, and the dark night of the soul. And then, my friend, if you're still with us then, we go into Act 3, which is the receiving part. And that is the sacramental or the ascension phase, the climax, and then the seizing of destiny. So that is how we go through the 3-step process described in The Secret, but we master it on an emotional level through this. So now I'm going to ask you a question. And once you hear this question, there's no going back. What would you like to accomplish in 60 days that would surprise even you? Okay, I want you to stop this recording and think about that. There's no turning back after you answer this question. What would you like to accomplish in 60 days that would surprise even you? What miracle would you like to experience in 60 days that would surprise even you? If you haven't done so already, stop the tape now and seriously think about that question. It's the question that will define the rest of your life. Do you have an answer to the question? That's great. We're almost ready for the audition. There's just one more piece of information I want to give you before we go on to your own personal audition process. Now, if you're not completely clear about your 60-day quest, that's okay. In Act 1, you will address clarity in asking for what it is that you want. This is a phase known as unconscious incompetence. You might even start to have fun. Matter of fact, I know you'll have fun. Because when you first start something, when you first emotionally commit to something that you're unfamiliar with, it's strangely unknown and it becomes fun because you're not aware yet of your own lack of knowledge, and that's great, that's fine. You live in blissful ignorance. But the first part is always exciting, and it should be. We're ready to go into a new direction and change your life forever and for the better. Now, I will tell you ahead of time, Act 2 is probably the most difficult. Act 2 is where we really test our belief. Do we believe in ourselves? Do we believe we can do this? That's when you go through the desert and the catharsis of the plot twist and the dark night of the soul. This is a phase known as conscious incompetence. When you learn a new skill or a new sport and you start taking it for a couple of weeks and you start to get to know it, you get frustrated because now you're consciously aware of how inept you are at it. But you keep practicing. And hopefully it's because you believe in something, you find joy in it. And that's important. When you answer that question, what would you like to accomplish in 60 days, it should be something enjoyable and something that inspires you. And finally, when we reach Act 3, you will get your payoff. Something seems to happen when you go into that 7th phase of the sacramental or the ascension. When we enter Act 3, first you're going to have a knowing, an inner knowing, before you reach your climax and seize your destiny. Now, in The Secret or the Law of Attraction, they call this receiving. In Act 3, this is a phase known as conscious competence. You will know that you have mastered a lot of these skills, a lot of these emotional skills, and it will leave you with a feeling of pride and accomplishment. Finally, You should feel inspired to take another quest, an even bigger quest that stretches you even more. When you go into this phase and you constantly go through the cycle and you're familiar with it and you gain the confidence in it, you go into a phase called unconscious competence. This is where you learn the freedom to live and you become the master of both worlds, which is the master of the material world and the world of being able to create, the creative world. Sound interesting? Can you see the possibilities, and can you feel that I'm telling the truth in these words? Good. We're now ready for the audition. There you are. Good afternoon. Welcome to the audition. I'm just going to have you sit out here in the hallway for a moment, and I'm going to have you fill out the application. I'll take your photo. I'll take your resume. Certainly glad you could come out for this production of the Destiny 5 experience. My name is Michael Schumann. I'm the director and the acting coach for this particular production. So let me explain a little bit about what you're auditioning for today. Now, this is not like a regular film or a regular stage production, but this is a story, and it's the story of your life, and you are the lead role, okay? This is going to be an ensemble production. There are 5 roles that I'm casting for, and you will be reading and auditioning for one of them. So I need you to pick one of those roles before you come inside for the audition. I'm going to have you look at the answer to your question once again. Again, that question was, what could you accomplish in 60 days that would surprise even you? And I'm going to read you a description of the 5 characters that you have your choice of auditioning for today. It's very important for you to be able to pick out the specific role for yourself. Now, all of these roles are interconnected, and they play a huge role in the Destiny 5 experience story. So I need you to take your piece of paper out once again and number it from 1 to 5, because each one of these numbers will represent a role that you could potentially audition for. Now, the first role that we'll be casting for today is called the artist. Okay, that's number 1, the artist. And I am going to read directly from the book, The Destiny 5 Experience, to give you a description of what we're looking for in an artist. As the artist, you might be trying to find your own voice in this world, which sometimes feels like a place where the message of true art is silenced. Now, the artist is to speak and express your message, no matter how uncomfortable this truth might be at first, through whatever creative method you want. It could be acting, singing, dancing, anything, the art that you see fit. Now, good art exposes truth, both in our world and in ourselves. The artist is going to understand this compelling truth about yourself and about the world throughout this Destiny 5 experience. The second role that we're casting for today is called the teacher, and that's number 2 on your list, the teacher. Like the artist, the teacher has a message to give. That message will most assuredly have something to do with having the courage to be yourself. Now, this is colossal in a time where most of us are encouraged to become mediocre and refuse the call. The teacher's story has to be a daring tale of radical self-expression. Most teachers, when called to prove who they really are, shrivel in the face of a spotlight, or shrivel in the face of a critical audience, or in the face of a superior who has the power to make or break you. Perhaps the teacher has a lesson for parents in helping to raise the next generation. Think about this for a moment. Do you have a message? 3 on your list, and the third role that we're casting for today is called the lover. Again, that is the lover. Someone who might be cast as the lover is searching not only for love, but to acquire an understanding of what love really is. Many people my age especially have become jaded when happily ever after never comes. I would like you, as the auditioner, to have a true story about how to define and find love. Now, this might not just be in a romantic experience, but also the love for a parent, or a child, or a friend. All of these relationships apply when you're auditioning for the role of the lover.